buonasera, Marta Marrucco, Excite Italia. Avevo due domande da chiederle. Il personaggio di Simon Pegg non fa una bella fine, però fra i due magari è più ingenuo rispetto all'amico. Come mai non ha pensato a lieto fine per lui? Perché si è ispirato proprio alla storia reale, insomma, in cui uno dei due perdeva la vita? Questa è la prima domanda. La seconda, ero curiosa di sapere come aveva realizzato le scenografie, che ho trovato splendide, se le ha ricostruite in studios oppure si è ha fatto aiutare, insomma, con il computer.
Well, first of all, the story follows the story of that's what really happened. A lot of fictional parts. I mean, the character of Ginny, the actress, that's not true. We made all that up. Nicephore, the French photographer, that is true, but 7 years later, we moved it down, and things like that. Charles Darwin really was Monroe's assistant, but the real Burke in here, what happened when they were caught was that Mr. and Mrs. Hare turned state's evidence against Burke, and they admitted to one murder but pinned 16 on him. So for doing that, I think they served 2 months in prison. I mean, nothing. And nobody knows what happened to them. There's a lot of urban legends about what happened to them. Burke took the fall. We made him make a sacrifice and do it. I don't think the real Burke was quite so noble, but he was sentenced, interestingly enough, to be executed, publicly dissected, and put on display, where he still is. And that's why it's kind of unusual to make a film about a historic figure and have the historic figure in the movie. Oh, set. I had a brilliant costume. I'm sorry. Brilliant. Well, yeah, I should say that. I had 3 really gifted people. John Matheson, the cameraman, who usually shoots stuff for Ridley Scott. And John is a great DP. And then I had my wife, Deborah Toolman, the costume designer, and then a brilliant production designer named Simon Elliott. There's only one set in the whole movie. Everything's location. The interior of the jail cell, prison, the inside is a set on the one day I shot at Ealing Studios on the stage. Everything else is location. We shot in Edinburgh and we shot all over London. Last winter was the worst winter in British history. Which it was miserable to shoot in, but it helps to look. Because you see how big it really was. That's all real snow and real rain. The actors are really blue, But Deborah did a tremendous amount of research. She went to the National Library of Scotland. And if you're interested, it's kind of amazing. There turned out to be a guy named Walter Gecky. And Walter Gecky was the son of a doctor who was deaf, but at the age of 6 was drawing wonderful drawings. So his father got him teachers, and he became quite a well-known painter. But when he was about 12 years old, in 1828 and 29, he would go into the Westport ghetto and draw these beautiful watercolors of people. And so all costumes are reproductions of those drawings. And we went to a lot of trouble. It was fascinating because nobody had new clothes except the wealthy. You wore all your clothes at the same time to be worn. It was very interesting. I mean, the one guy, Knox, Tom Wilkinson, it's Regency. It's not Victorian. It's way before. And it's I thought I was going to make a movie with beards, but it turns out no beards. Nobody had beards but soldiers. They had mutton chops. And if you see it again, wonderful hair. That Lord Byron, that ridiculous, curly, it's great hair. But Simon Elliott, he said, what are we going to do? Because the old town in the Westport ghetto doesn't exist. If you go to Edinburgh, it's gone. The boarding house was for the tannery. That is now a parking lot, a big glass tower. But Edinburgh itself, the castle is there, the new town is there, and the market. So what we did was, I'm giving it away, but the picture was not a very expensive, it's very low budget. I just had very talented people. So we found locations around London, and we also found locations, we shot on the 3 streets in Edinburgh that still look like they look. That's the real castle, Digitally, we removed phone wires, antennas, things like that. And then, but those are the 3 streets we could shoot on. And he had a brilliant idea. We shot inside the courtyards of Stirling Castle and Edinburgh Castle, because the inside courtyards, the architecture in stone was correct, and we dressed them as streets. And it worked great. It worked really well. And it's just a very clever guy, and that's all location stuff. I mean, all of its locations around London and in Edinburgh.
Dunque, c'era un'altra domanda che faccio un altro paio.
2 quick questions. Speaking about horror, what do you think?
I'm sorry. 1 second. I have to tell you an interesting thing. It broke my heart. Do you know what Staffordshire pottery is? Staffordshire. You've seen them. They're English. They're from the 18th century, 19th century.